Let's do it. Hello everyone and welcome back to ArchaeoGaming. Tonight, our final event, we're going to be playing Elden Ring. I want you all to know, a little inside baseball. I was going to play Dark Souls 2 and literally just spent an hour telling you about how great Dark Souls 2 is. Like, that's all I was going to be doing. Like, the whole time I was just going to talk about Dark Souls 2, why it's great and why everybody should play it. And then Sarah asked me if I would do Elden Ring instead. And, you know, that's fair. It's reasonable. It is the hot new game. I'm going to be honest, I haven't played this game in about 2-3 months. No, that can't be that long. I don't know. Since maybe a month after the game came out. And I'm going to be real rusty. So, I decided to challenge myself by... How the heck do you run? What's the run button? Circle. Oh, yeah. This is my third time through the game. I played the game once through, then I played a new game plus, and then I started a fresh file and got about halfway through the game. So where we're starting tonight, is the beginning of Leyndell Capital City, which is sort of exactly the midway point of the game, and it's also a point that's an interesting one to think about archaeologically because we're going to be in a really cool sort of architectural zone that has a lot of time depth and layers to it, so I'm hoping it gives us some things to think about a little bit. Oh man, there's so much stuff happening in the chat. I want to check. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat every once in a while. My turn. I can't hear it. Oh yeah, headphones. I don't know. I'm excited to see this. So some people have not played Elden Ring. I don't actually think we're going to get a lot in terms of spoilers here because I don't think we're really going to go through any story stuff like at all. I don't really think we're going to go through any plot areas, although certainly you'll be spoiled as to what this section of the game, and I'll say the first half of the game really builds to this moment when we enter into this area, so that's a spoiler in some sense. So I thought what I would do is I'd challenge myself. There's a sort of mini boss here. I'm going to try and beat it rusty, haven't played the game in like a couple of months, while I do my introductions for myself, and I'm not going to do a summon. If I die, I'll come back and I'll do a summon the next time. So I have a really weird build that I was working with. Kind of a fun build, but a weird one. Oh god. Oh, look at that. Still got it. Oh, that was badly timed. Oh, boy. Okay. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Bill Farley. And I'm an archaeologist, as almost everybody you've seen. I'm already dead. So like I said, very rusty. That's good. It's a good way to start it. It's an exciting way to start it. I'm an archaeologist, and I'm actually an archaeology anthropology professor. We'll start this. I'm going to try one more time without the summon. And I've been an archaeologist for about 15 years, but only been doing this archaeogaming thing for about the last year. And I got involved with it because I started a YouTube channel about archaeology and video games, which were two things that I was interested in, but I didn't realize. Oh, the timing on that's weird. I didn't realize at the time just how active a little sub-discipline there already was in archaeogaming. I'd never heard of this sub-discipline, so I was really excited. And this community that you've been seeing all weekend long just sort of took me in and was like, hey, this is a cool place. And I've made some great friends. And if you're not active after this weekend with ArchaeoGaming, do it. Join the Discord, come hang out, follow all of our socials and stuff, and get involved because this is just a very cool community. Oh, I am so rusty. God, I'm gonna be hit by that. Horribly rusty. How's this look? It looks like it's got okay frame rate. I'm working on a not exactly a high quality gaming PC here. Oh, I forgot about my special. I forgot I have a whole point of this build was that Bloodhound step. Oh, crike. Ooh, okay. I'll see, I moved into concentration mode. I think we got him this time. I think we got him beat. I think I got his number. So after this, we're going to just be sort of exploring, and I won't have so much challenging fights. If I use my summon, it's quite easy. So if I have to do that, So this is the part where you just watch me play like this is a normal stream. We got him. We got him. We got him. We got him. We got him, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so that's it. Okay, I died once. That's okay. That's pretty good. I keep pushing, the L3 button to run because I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn. Another great, interesting archaeology game, Horizon Zero Dawn. Whew! I getted him good. I did. I getted him good. So let's take a moment to look around. I got to remind myself to slow down a little bit because this is just a visually very exciting, appealing place. So I went back and I watched all of Vadi's videos earlier today to try and reacquaint myself with the lore, and it's still a mess. I don't know what the heck's going on, so you don't need to worry about the plot. But ultimately, the plot revolves around, up to this point, everybody's been telling us, oh, we got to get to this tree. It's this huge tree. That's it. That's the whole game. Get to this tree. Do some stuff so you can get to this tree, and we're finally going to get to this tree. That's what we're doing today. And in FromSoft fashion, we're going to learn there's maybe a little bit more to the tree than we thought. I'm not talking about archaeology at all. Anna said she was going to ask me ridiculous questions. Ask me ridiculous questions. You don't worry about the plot. The plot's not important. It's not important. So yeah, this is. Oh, I didn't actually do. I never really finished my introductions because I got so focused on that. So this is my girl. How do you do that? Hold on. I forget how to do that. You know, it's not that way. Oh well, it's not important. This is my girl, Janet. Every FromSoft game I've ever played, my main character is named Janet. If you want to learn more about Janet and her trials and tribulations, you could follow my YouTube channel, which is Video Game Archaeology, where I have some videos about this game. I have some videos about Dark Souls. I have some videos about Breath of the Wild, Outer Wilds, and what else I got on there? Final Fantasy VII Remake. I don't know. I get something about a lot of different games, so no matter what your sort of interest is, there's some stuff in there. Bill is so maidenless he had to play a maiden. I always play a maiden in these games. Always. Always. Shouldn't it be called Elden Tree? It's pretty interesting you asked that. That's a more interesting... I know you're... Anna's going to try and shitpost me the whole time. It should be called Elden Tree. It's called Elden Ring. The tree is the ring. The ring is the tree. It's also not the tree and not the ring. I love FromSoft does this. They went wild on it in this game. Every FromSoft game, all the Dark Souls games, have these moments when you come out of these sort of archways and just like they hit you with this huge vista. And there's usually like, I don't know, 3 of them in a game. And in this game, there's like 25 of these. You walk out, although this is definitely one of the most extravagant. So we're going to come out here and we're going to see this huge, the Erd tree, which is again sort of an Yggdrasil sort of thing. If we've got any Norse mythology folks in the audience who want to talk about Yggdrasil in the chat, that's definitely an inspiration here, I think, for this. And I don't know nothing about any of that, but we can see already right away that not all is what we expect here. We look into this supposed to be this huge city, and we immediately find these sort of sad-looking, deadish guys. Don't worry about him. He was fine. He's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. And there's a lot of destruction, and the tree seems to be sort of reaching into the city. So, I don't know. There's something going on here. There's something we can start to use our... the church stuff, there's a lot of that. Oh, the Wolverine claws. Yes, I keep forgetting to finish telling you about Janet. So Janet, as I said, this is Janet's 3rd iteration in Elden Ring. And I decided to... I did kind of popular builds after my first one, my first run through. I'm assuming there's some FromSoft heads in the audience. My first run, I did my traditional first run, which is always the biggest, most ridiculous sword I can find, 2-handed without a shield. Oh yeah, here's another one. Right, 2 of these right back to back. Let's archaeologize about this a bit. There's a lot going on here. We've got the Erd tree. It seems to have a crack in it. They seem to have built directly into it or something. These huge church-like structures. I don't know what real-world cities is this meant to kind of reference. They often almost always reference real-world cities. There's a kind of a Byzantium, there's a sort of a French, right? Because we've got these mansard roofs, so maybe there's a Paris kind of a thing going on. Just the Vatican, yeah, I mean, maybe that's the most obvious, right, with these golden roofs. Clearly some references to some old school religions. Dendo Elden Ring, I love that. It's going to try and shitpost the whole time. Yeah, that's what I mean. I want him. Ask me some, like, the dumbest questions you've got. You wanted me to ask, like, where does this fall in the Lord of the Rings timeline? I'd say this falls probably, like, right after Two Towers is where this game probably falls in that timeline. That's just a guess. These FromSoft games are such an unbelievable challenge to, I think, stream and play while talking, because they take such immense concentration. And I think if I was, like, in mode playing this game like I was a couple of months ago, I could probably do all this without even thinking about it. But the reality is I'm not in that mode right now, so it's going to take me a little bit of concentration sometimes. These guys are surprisingly persnickety. They will mess you up. Again, what is it? Even these guys have kind of some references going on here, right? These outfits, again, I guess sort of Catholic. Is that what we're supposed to read here? With these creepy, wait, is Amma in the crowd? I think they're nuns. Are they nuns? I think they're nuns. There's some sort of a nun. Look at another one's. Oh, they disappear. So this is my third run through the game, and I did kind of popular builds. My second run through the game, I did a dual katana with the big katanas that everybody was using at the time, which I didn't actually realize had become a popular build. And then my third time through the game, I did this build that revolves around a weapon art called Bloodhound's Step, which allows me to, instead of just doing a normal roll, I can do this like little teleport. Uses a little bit of my magical power, that blue bar in the upper left hand corner, very tiny little bit amount of it, but every time I do that, I don't think that might be okay. I can just drop down. But it's really quite a fun build with the Wolverine claws. So this is dual wielding these claws. It took me, I'm going to be honest, as anybody who knows me can tell you, I have an absolutely dreadful sense of direction. And every time I've ever played Leyndell, I get so lost. This game really tests and challenges your ability to like know space and to know where you are. And you'd think it's kind of funny, like an archaeologist should be good at that, and I'm not at all. I'm terrible at it. Ooh, there's that guy. I thought I killed that guy. Ooh, these guys hit like trucks and they actually get you. I should keep an eye on the chat. Taro Taro Bozu to me, which are Japanese rain summoning dolls. Oh, that's cool. Can you speak on behalf of other Gen Zs? On behalf of other Gen Zs? Who do you think I am? I'm millennial to the core, all right? I'm millennial as heck, okay? I was born in 1986. I'm old. So, but that's a really interesting question, maybe, right? The popularity of these games in reference to generational things, right? One of the questions that I think has really been abounding, this room is really cool, and I want to just hang out in here for a second. Maybe we just hang in here for a second. I'm going to have to fight this dude anyway. Oh, God, I need a grace real bad. I've got a good build for these guys. These guys were quite tough. But this is a good build for them. These FromSoft games have been popular, kinda, right? But you have, like, Demon Souls come out, and nobody played Demon Souls. It was sort of a classic example of a cult hit, right? It became a cult hit really fast, and literally nobody played it, including me. I don't want to imply that I played it. I didn't. Good Lord, no. No way. I didn't start playing these games until much later. And then Dark Souls was a big hit, but still, I mean, nothing like what Elden Ring has been. What was it about this game that sort of blew the roof off the popularity question for this style of game? It's just as hard as the other games. I mean, I don't think it's quite as hard as the other FromSoft games, but it's in the ballpark. It's certainly not a lot easier than the other games. So that's supposed to be a thing that sort of drives people away. I love all these little potted plants. This is so cute. Look, this guy's playing this little Ludo narrative. Not Ludo narrative, excuse me, that's not the word I'm looking for. Diegetic transition, where we can hear this sound sometimes, and then we're gonna just do this. These guys actually will absolutely mess you up. Oh, you're kidding me. Don't you want to die? So what was it about this game that was so popular? I don't want to do that. So popular compared to those previous ones. Was it because it's an open world game? Was it because the theming is a little bit more familiar? I don't know. It's just as complex as any of the previous games. It's just as wild and weird as any of their other games. So I haven't figured that out yet. I think that's been a real mystery. I think people who have played and loved these games for a long time have been asking themselves that a lot. What was it that how did they crack the code here with this new game? And I'm gonna be disappointing and not really have an answer for that. Oh God, this room's too hard. And I'm burning through my my flasks. Pretty bad. What's going on, I think? Sorry. As a Phil 86er, I resent that. Oh my God. I'm so millennial that I don't even play this game. Are you actually a millennial, Anna? You seem younger than that. You're not a Zoomer? You're not a Zoomer? I thought so. George R. Yeah, that's a good point. Somebody brought up George R. R. Martin and the popularity of Game of Thrones. This was the first game really to come out. I mean, I think Dark Souls 3 probably came out during Game of Thrones and when it was during its popularity, but Dark Souls 3 was a sequel to an already existing series. This was a new series, and they definitely drew quite heavily from that's an important quest item for a quest I'm not really doing. There's but it was an existing thing, whereas this is a new thing, and they've really, I do think, drawn very heavily. There's even Jon Snow is practically in this game. There's a sort of character who has like his exact accent and sort of looks like him, and I think a lot of people think he's a direct reference. And of course, George R. R. Martin obviously helped with the writing of this game, and that there's been a lot of question, I think, within the community. How much did he really do? Or was that more of like a marketing thing? I tend to lean towards that being a bit more of a marketing push than anything, because this game is FromSoft as heck. This game is Miyazaki as heck. The guy who's sort of most famous for the production of these games. This game is really very much. God, I need to find a grace real bad, because I'm hurting a little bit. I'm hurting a bit. I gotta be honest. I'm gonna ignore that guy and go for this because this guy's my neighbors. Frig. Oh, frig! Where did that dude come from? That's cheap! Where was that dude? Come on, look at this guy. Where were you? Where were you, fella? 92,000 souls, or whatever the hell they're called in this game. It's alright. We'll get him back. Probably not. It's okay. I really don't care. I've reached that level of gameplay where I just do not care. So we'll just try. We'll try a different route this time. That's a shortcut. We're gonna ignore these guys. We're just gonna run right past them, which we can do. We're gonna speed run. I'm just gonna run right past these guys. Yeah, I don't want to do this. I'm trying to watch the Trying to watch the yeah. So this is great. I love having the chat, having you guys all in the chat, and all my old world archaeologists hanging out in the chat, because I am often lost in these games as to what they're referencing. I know that they are quite explicitly referencing different historic periods and architectural styles, and I'm often like, yeah, that's something, all right, but I couldn't tell you what. I couldn't tell you. You know what? Oh, I lived. Can you believe that? Just walked off a cliff and lived. The fall distance in this game is much, much more forgiving than that would have absolutely killed me in any of the previous games. I would have been nah, I don't need any of this stuff. I would have been extremely dead in that situation. Oh, these guys suck. I really chose, no joke, this is one of the most difficult sections of the game. This part is really quite hard. If you're following along. Oh, yeah, that's a classic. That was a classic move. Can't fool me, you jerk. You jerk. Alright, let's try and fight one of these guys. That was bullshit. Oh, boy. Is another one going to show up and kill me? Did I ever finish introducing myself? Probably not. You guys all know me, right? Yeah. I got this YouTube channel. I can continue that story. I started the YouTube channel because I was sort of lonely and sad during the pandemic, just like everybody. I was looking for a hobby. Woo, that guy's hard. And I just started making these videos about video games and archaeology. And again, I thought I was this super creative guy. I was like, man, I'm so smart. I'm thinking, what intersection of video games and archaeology? Man, that's a pretty cool idea. I bet I'm the first person who's ever thought of that. And then that idea was supported because I went onto YouTube and I was like, I wonder if I can get the name Video Game Archaeology. And it was available, and I was like, oh, I really must be the first person who ever thought of it. God, I'm so smart. And then I can't remember which one of you goons I met first, and I was like, oh, Christ. And then I found out there was this whole huge group of people who were cool and doing amazing research, and all the people you saw this weekend who have been thinking about these things for years. There's no boss behind this door. That was a lie. And I'm joking, making that sound like I was hurt to discover this. That's of course not true. I was thrilled to see that there were just all these brilliant, amazing scholars out there of all sorts and stripes and ages and types, just doing the coolest research, and been incredibly inspiring. So I was been learning so much from everybody, and it's definitely improved the way I've been thinking about these issues, and frankly thinking about my sort of day job, archaeology, which is how I think of my regular responsibilities that don't usually involve me talking about video games, like teaching and research and whatever, the stuff I do for my paid job. Is that a thing that streamers do? They introduce themselves every time. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Ring the bell. This is not actually my Twitch channel, so I gain nothing from you doing that. I don't even have a Twitch channel, so I've never... the only streaming I've ever done is for other people. That is to say, the ArchaeoGaming Con and Sassa. You see how I didn't pick up that item? That was called self-control, folks. That's what that was. And I'm pretty impressed with myself, if I'm being honest. Because old me, a younger, more foolish me, would have tried to pick up that item, and I would have gotten bitten by that dog, and he would have killed me. And that would have been very embarrassing to do on stream. And, I think I'm showing significant patience and care. This is such a broken-ass build. These claws, you put some levels into dexterity, and you go and you get that Bloodhound step, which was extremely hard to get, because you have to beat a mini-boss that's actually quite challenging. Oh, I forgot about this guy. You have to beat a mini-boss. It's quite difficult. Oh, crike! That guy hit like a goddamn truck. Oh, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? How am I gonna deal with this? I can beat him. Oh, crikey! Oh, now I have dogs to deal with. I'm using all my... Oh! I am so screwed. I'm screwed, everybody! Just run! But I want that purple thing. Oh, what? What was that reach? Woo! Jesus Christ. We're gonna suicide run this. We're gonna go get that purple thing and then probably die afterwards. And that's okay. I don't even know what this is. Perfume bottle. That's not useful to me in the least. Okay. It is like that is a non-consumable. It's a rare item, but it does nothing with the build I'm using. Which is how they interestingly sustained this as an open world game with lots of like loot and crap. Is that there's about 250 million builds, and most of the items you find are completely useless unless they're specific to your very specific build. But you still get that little endorphin kick when you find it. Oh yeah, that's cool. That's a neat item. Never gonna use that, but you still get the little kick. So I lived through that somehow, but now I have very few flasks and very little health, and we're really getting into some trouble here. So hopefully y'all are getting a little bit of a feel for this. As soon as I pick this up, this dude's gonna get up. Ah, crike. I'm using non-swear words for the stream. Does anybody care? Yes. What do we got? I haven't talked about archaeology pretty much at all. All right, so as Anna said, I have to introduce myself again. So my name's... I did want to take a second at some point to like pull up my stats page. Pretty sure there's actually a damned Grace up here. I'm actually getting kind of close to the area boss. I've sort of taken a very weird route, and we don't actually want to do that. But I can go up here and I can grab the Site of Grace, which is the bonfires of this game. Maybe there isn't one up here. Ah, crike. Yeah, that's right. This is just closed, and I have to go do something. This looks like a boss area, but it's actually not. I have to do something to open this. How's my FPS look? My frames per seckie. This guy's got perfume? That's not fair. It's okay, I can just cheat. With this build, this cheaty build. Alright, that gives me a second to open up. I can open up my stats. So, anybody who's followed my channel knows that I've made a couple of videos about this game with my partner, who has never played a FromSoft game and who is tells me that they won't play them because they have too many stats. So I thought I'd show you guys how this sort of build works. This is my build. You can see I run a very lean sort of a build. Just these hook claws, which have been altered to scale with dexterity, and they're like I said, they're a common. They're just an item you get pretty early in the game. They're not like special or fancy. There's nothing special about them, but they work great as a dexterity weapon. The armor I've picked is pure 100% just fashion souls. I just think this looks cool. Just makes it look kind of cool. You know, we could do whatever we want. I'm gonna go to my like heavier. I have like a heavier build I was doing. I'm gonna set that up. Which looks like this. This is my sort of other Fashion Souls build. Slightly heavier, although I can still roll fast, which is all that really matters. And I got Radagon's Soar Seal, which is a cool risk-reward sort of an item. It raises a bunch of your attributes, your levels, but it also increases the damage you take. So this is called a professional, hardcore, get good sort of a guy item, you know, because that's how I am. This is the thing that just gives you more runes when stuff dies, and a thing that raises attack power with successive attacks, which is a good item for this, for a claw weapon, which tends to do lots of these little small piercing-y attacks. And then, I don't know, what else do I want to say? I don't know if anybody even cares about this, but I'm doing it anyway. And then if you look at my attribute points, that's my levels. A whole bunch of levels in Vigor, which is a noobish thing to do. That's your health, that's your HP. Cool people don't put any levels in Vigor, and they just make it so you die after one hit. I think that's really dumb, so I don't do that. Mind is your MP, basically. And then Dexterity, you can see, is where I've got almost all my levels dumped into, and that's the thing that scales the strength of this weapon. So, very simple build. I tend to favor quite simple setups that are effective. Yeah, we can't go there until we beat the area boss. This is actually, interestingly, set up a little bit differently. The area boss is separate from... I'm not talking about archaeology at all. Archaeology, come back to archaeology. Yeah, I don't know, So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. We got lots of time. I thought I'd get some of the gameplay stuff out and some of the hot gameplay first, and then we talk about the area. Let's go back now, and we'll do that. So again, I mean, all these statues. One of the beautiful things about FromSoft that I love, and I think a lot of people love, and it's a low-key archaeology thing, is all of these areas are just crammed with environmental storytelling. And I think there's an idea that FromSoft games are mostly like, item descriptions, which is true. We can go into our items, and all these items have these little descriptions here, that tell you something or other. Long ago, it said that a golem crafter employed a similar crystal tool, and you can use that to put together little bits of information. But they work very much like the historical record in a way that I think is really cool. These little item descriptions and even the things people tell you in the game, they are reminiscent of the historical record because they're always incomplete. They always tell you nowhere near the whole story. You have to piece it all together. And they always leave huge gaps. And I think a lot of players, fill in those gaps kind of with fan theories and with logical leaps, and that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but we can actually fill those gaps with our archaeology skills, and the way that we do that is by taking a look at all of these objects. The reason I picked this Leyndell area is, for instance, is anything chasing me? Not really. Okay. For instance, in Leyndell, this sort of area here, we can immediately see there's so much going on here, right? We already sort of got into a little bit of a conversation about the architecture, which is this kind of Byzantine or Vatican or I don't know, late Roman. I don't know. Again, it's sort of immediately outside of my realm. These statues, for instance, up here, the use of gold is meaningful. Gold is a very powerful symbol within the world of Elden Ring. It means you can see the color of the Erd tree itself is obviously a golden color, but the Golden Order is sort of like the god of this world. It's called the Golden Order. It's actually a being that you never see. It's a sort of outer god that influences the world in big ways. So gold becomes really important there. The outfit that these statues are wearing with this strange sort of headdress is something you're going to see again actually on some of the enemies. So that seems to be some sort of an element of the dress of Leyndell. And those enemies only appear here in Leyndell, so that seems to be specific to the culture of this particular city or nation, if you will. There's obviously really extravagant things like this humongous dragon we can see here, very dramatic, with this huge spear thing that's actually been used to pierce it. We can see that from other angles better, and that speaks to a big story that in any real world culture would be a something of mythology, but in FromSoft worlds there is less distance between people and their gods, generally speaking. And Elden Ring, that's very true. The gods are not pieces of lore within the world. They are real. You often meet them and fight them or talk to them. These kinds of legends are close. I mean, that's a common high fantasy trope. I cannot beat this guy with this view. Hold on. Maybe we can cheat a little bit. Am I gonna get this off before he hits me? Nope. Oh, he killed me. Shit. Okay, that's all right. This will give us a chance to go back to the beginning and look around a little bit. That was very unsmart, what I just did there. That was very, unsmart? That's not a world. What are the statues holding? I think we'll see those guys again here in a moment. But actually, now we're in one of these indoor areas, and these are great places to look around. Look at the density of detail. And, you know, I was joking with Sarah about doing Dark Souls 2, and I think Elden Ring was a good idea for this reason. The density of detail, probably because of the increased graphical fidelity they had access to and the time and money they had that they probably didn't have before. They used that to just stuff this game full of stuff. So we look at these halls here, and just all of this detail work absolutely has meaning. So we can see a representation of the Erd tree on these tapestries. Obviously, they've been copy and pasted over and over again. You know, okay, that's fine. That's just smart reuse of assets. But it does speak to the centrality and importance that we do see this depiction over and over and over again. I think that speaks to the question before about the staves that the statues were holding. I believe those are also representations of the Erd tree. Everything in Leyndell revolves around the Erd tree. It is the central figure of this area of the game, the central fact of this area of the game, and we see it again. We see dendritic imagery all over the place and gold all over the place, speaking to the Golden Order and the presence of the Erd tree. So we can get another view here on the same thing we were just looking at from a different perspective. We're gonna have to run through the same area because I died again like a dork. Although we can actually get down there faster, I think. Let me take a look at the chat. I haven't really. Tell me about there. That was. Is there a culture for the area game? Yeah, if I jump, I will die. Will I die there? Yeah. How about you like that? You are exactly like these bad signs telling you what to do. You're exactly like the people who are writing troll messages. I just want you to know that's not a good thing. You don't want to be like those people. That's not good. We're going to get down to ground level really fast so we can continue looking forward. So somebody asked about the culture of the area. Yeah, one thing FromSoft Game is really good at, I would say they do it somewhat simplistically, but that's okay. This one says to jump, and you actually can. This will help us. Oh, that was kind of cheap. This is we can get down to the street level a lot faster. It's sort of a shortcut. These guys are. Shoot. Okay, we're not gonna mess around with these guys. These guys are gonna mess us up. So we're just gonna keep moving. In this game, more than any, there really are probably a dozen distinct areas within this game, and each of them definitely has. So you can see we've just caught back up to where we were, very close to it. See, there's my dropped souls, and we are gonna go ahead and do this now. Yes. And not mess around with that. There are very, very distinct cultures. So so we can look at our enemy. I'm gonna summon my spirit there so that it can kind of distract us, so we can really look at this guy. These guys are mini bosses that you see repeatedly throughout the game, and notice some of our recurring symbolism. First of all, they are basically tree ents sort of things. Let me see if I can get his attention so he pays attention to us. And they have, again, that staff, right? That's that same symbol, that same staff symbol that we saw earlier on the helmets of those other guys. Oh, man, I'm so rusty. And they use, the spells that they use are all associated with the Erd tree, these like light spells. And these are some of the toughest mini bosses in the game. They really hit like a truck. I just absolutely just cheaped this guy. And we're going to put them right here. Which is nice. So we came from the opposite way. I said last time, this area has such a difficult spatial setup. I get lost here every time. Where am I? Yeah, take a look at this map, by the way. This incredible map. Let's take a second to look at this map. So, to finish that question about are there sort of different cultures? Yes, you start out the game in this area here, which is called Limgrave, which has its own distinctive story and shape. And I actually did 2 videos on Elden Ring that were off the cuff like this. It was just sort of me talking. One of them was exploring Limgrave, and the other one was exploring Liurnia, these 2 areas here. And they have their own stories, they have their own histories, they have their own central places. These games are just fabulous at this. They give this depth of culture and time. And it is, of course, compressed. It's not just a simple recreation of real life and how actual cultures do. Like, that would be cool for us as archaeologists, as anthropologists to think about, but, like, I don't know. How exciting would that be to play a game? It's, like, too complicated. So, yes, it's compressed down. Yes, it's simplified a little bit. But they do give this distinctive place and space. Even better, I would argue, than some other games that are really good at this, like, for instance, Breath of the Wild or something like that, which is another game that's great at these kind of use of space. But Zelda games are quite simplistic in how they do this. They just kind of like, oh, you're in a desert area now, and this is the desert culture. And they always draw quite simplistically from real cultures for those something sort of essentialist about them in a way, in how they draw from cultures. I'm trying to figure out where I am. This is where we died here earlier. God, my sense of space is so bad. I'm like instantly lost. Ooh, that hit hard. Let's get out of here. Yeah, we've been here earlier. I like these indoor areas, but they're cool to look at. But my God, are they just crammed with enemies? And it makes it kind of difficult to hang out in them. You never feel like you can hang out in this game, at least not in this area. Here's our guide. We saw him earlier. Oh my God, did you see how much damage that guy just did? Lord! Lord! That guy hit so hard. If you were to walk around the city without the monsters, cutscenes, lore, codex, etc., is there any context that you can derive from the features and conditions I left behind in this place? New Lord of the Rings series based on this game? I think the answer is yes to all. Yeah, so you could. And I was wondering if maybe we should jump to another area of the game and wander around and think about that kind of play. Just see it. Like, I'm kind of okay with that. Like, okay, we've sort of seen what there is to see in this area. Let's do that. Let's go to somewhere kind of cool. Let's check out the Academy of Raya Lucaria. Let's start here, which is another really visually dense, interesting place in the game. We can sort of walk around. This is a much earlier section of the game, and a little bit. I'm frankly over-leveled for it now, so I shouldn't die as often. Which is nice. But hopefully you can kind of really quickly and immediately see that, again, we get another one of these where I mentioned this walk out of a door and just you get sort of slammed with this beautiful look. But we can immediately see there's a different architectural vibe here. It's still fantasy. It's more, I don't know what you call this. Is this Baroque? Is that what you'd call this? Yes, and so this will give us a little bit more of an option to do this. As for the new Lord of the Rings game, that's absolutely based on this. These little crabs probably mean something lore-wise. I don't know what they mean, but who cares? I want to do an indoor area, so let's actually go backwards. Different music, too. They use music really well in this game. I don't know. It's quickly, perhaps being... Looks more gothic. Looks a little like London. I don't know what pew pew means. All right, so this is a cool one. This was a little mini boss room here. So now we're in Raya Lucaria. Now, Raya Lucaria is, as the name suggests, Academy, is a school. It's like a university, an academy, a kind of in the I don't know, the Renaissance or medieval sense. And it's a school for magicians, for mages, and the mages in this game, in this particular school of sorcery, are essentially astrologers. They're very focused on the heavens and the moon and celestial bodies. That's where they draw their power from. That's what they study. And so this room here is really striking for that, because we get this cool, I don't know, astrolabe looking thing that appears to be of the moon. There's actually 2 moons. This planet has 2 moons. So this is one of those 2 moons, and it's obviously being kind of studied and dissected in interesting ways. That's kind of cool. It's so extravagant and huge and hanging on golden chains in the middle of the room. Why is that there? I don't know, just to make the room seem cooler. We get all these characters drawn on the wall here. These are literally all of these are real characters in the game. Some of them are actual characters you meet, like that sorceress Selene, right in between my antlers. She's an NPC you can meet. This lady right here is a boss that you fight part of the way through the game. And some of these other ones are referenced in written documents. So they're not just portraits of random people. The portraits all represent real people in this world who sort of occupy this world. I would say that this is the area of the game that most rips off assets from Bloodborne, which is a game that takes place in like Gothic Victorian London. Here's an enemy. We can see what some of these guys look like. So right away we get this vibe of academic here, right? If we want to take a look at this guy's clothes and what he or she is wearing, I don't actually know. The sort of bearded mask implies a gender, but besides that, right, we can see these sort of academic robes. We're going to see 47 million of these guys. We can see the crystals that are on their head is a source of magical power within this world. Very thoughtful character modeling. Oh, I don't know why that missed. He tries to hit you with a book, which is a very funny attack. Okay, you die. Die, please. Okay, great. Oh my criko! Made me play such a stressful game. Sarah, why? I could have played Zelda. I could have played, I don't know. I could have played C14 Dating Simulator. That would have been less stressful. Why is everything so hostile? It's actually kind of a good question. Yeah, we had Zelda. Zelda was covered. But why is everything hostile? This is a criticism I have seen of the FromSoft games that I think is quite reasonable. These games always take place in the aftermath of something cool that's happened. So they always take place, you're wandering a kind of dead world that's full of zombies and stuff. And when you do find living people who will talk to you, they feel like, why are they here? What is this person even doing here? It's actually quite a challenging room down there. I don't know if I really want to mess around, but we'll go back this way. I think this is a reasonable criticism of the game, is you're here kind of after everything has happened, right? Something has gone wrong here. It's half destroyed. These crystals are growing everywhere. They're not supposed to be. Things are ripped up. There's monsters everywhere. The living humans have all gone mad and attack you on sight for no reason. And every area is like that. Literally every area of the game is like that. Now, there's a video game. We have to ask ourselves, is there some ludonarrative dissonance happening there? Not to use a really cheesy, overused term. Is there some ludonarrative dissonance in that? And I think you could argue that perhaps there is. Why is there's nowhere in this world where people are just hanging out? And there are some very, very scant places in this game where you can just chill and hang out and not be attacked by anybody, but boy, they're quite rare. They're very rare. I'm walking over here because this sort of the ending area of this place and might give us some more fun stuff to look at. I'm relying on the chat to tell me what any of this stuff is. Wait, the mass on... the mass on the wall. Yeah, so the question, when are we going to do the C14 dating stream? I really want to, like, we should do that. Like, that would be really fun. And the mass on the wall that I kind of blew by and I didn't see that the chat was telling me to take a look at those. They are essentially these things that are on these people's heads are masks. You can even find them in game. Let me see. Do I have any of them? Yeah, so you can see here, I can even equip them on myself. And they give you boost to, sorceries and stuff like that, which makes sense. So I believe those masks on the wall actually were just some of those kind of hanging out. So this place is like, I don't know, halfway between a university. It's supposed to be like a university, but it's also like a castle because it's also the seat of a lord, a kind of an important noble person lives here who you interact with earlier in the game. So it's got a little bit of an element of a castle to it. So this is in the kind of the world of lore gathering in these games, there's a huge market of people who just like read all this stuff and they put stuff together. I mentioned earlier I was rewatching some of Vadi's videos earlier today. Vadi, if you don't know, is a very well-known FromSoft expert lore builder. He makes YouTube videos. He has a lovely British accent. His voice is very soothing, and so he has 2.5 million subscribers. And I sure don't. There's and he does amazing stuff. His work is great, and it's fabulous. This is a very cool room that maybe we can hang out in a minute, for a minute. And he does incredible work. But it's almost entirely based on the text, right? He's like a historian. He relies a lot on the voice dialogue lines and the text in the item descriptions, and occasionally we'll talk about environmental clues, but not the clues that an archaeologist might see, right? Looking at the objects themselves or the architecture or the way that space is oriented. So this is that character we saw in a portrait earlier, right, who I mentioned. You can actually talk to. I'm going to not talk to her because that's going to immediately instigate massive spoilers for anybody who maybe hasn't played this game yet. I mean, who am I kidding? This is a spoiler fest. I have no idea. Yeah. Somebody asked me about the golden ghost that you see from time to time. That is a FromSoft thing. There's always you can see there. There's always this is a boss room, so you'll see a lot of them. There's always an asynchronous online multiplayer element of these games, and so what you're seeing are ghosts of other players, usually dying, but it's those are other players. That's a real other player who's probably just died, and they give you this little replay of their character doing their thing. Which is neat. You can also summon people and be summoned, and you can invade people and kill them in their worlds. And one of the cool things in these games is that they always build that into the lore of the games. There's a reason why you can do that. It's not just like, this is a video game. They don't actually break the fourth wall. They sort of let it be, and they tell you a reason why you can do that stuff. I don't know how to make my way. I mean, I can go back to that room really fast if you want. I can get there in probably about 30 seconds to look at the masks. What's the fastest way to do that? The fastest way to do that is to do this. Yeah. What else we got in the? Any other questions in the chat? I don't know. Whew. Looking at this. I'm just taking a breather for a second. I have no idea what do I have am I supposed to stop at a point? Am I supposed to go for an hour? I don't know. Should I keep going? I don't know. You guys tell me. This is the last thing. So there's nothing after me. So we could just keep playing for an hour. We play all night and let's talk. You guys can ask me questions. Any more questions in the chat? Maybe we can pop into one other area and wander around a little bit. I didn't come up with a lot of... All right, so we're back to that spot where the masks were. So there you go. So we can take a look at these. I just need to kill these dudes. Otherwise, they're going to harass us while we're trying to observe some cool environmental storytelling. Those are some good items those guys just gave me. All right, so here's some of those masks. So you'll notice they are those same ones. They're the same sorts of things. Well, most of these are not ones you can get in the game. But interesting to note here, they don't have the crystals on the heads, do they? They're covered with like hats and things. And the eyes don't have the crystals in them. So that's interesting, actually. You might have stumbled onto an interesting bit of lore here. Every other instance I think of these masks, they have those crystals on the top of their heads, and those crystals are important. Those are, we can see on these guys here, those are a part of their magical powers. I'm going to run by these guys because they're annoying. Woo! I turned off the air conditioning so that you guys could hear me better. And it's hot in here. It's real hot in here. How are the masks hung in order? I don't think there was any particular rhyme or reason to it. Yeah. It's been almost an hour. How much time has passed in the game since there was a thriving population of people inhabiting these places? That's a really interesting question. And the answer is we usually don't know. And that's true in all of these games. It's not clear. And this is, again, I think this is an extremely, actually excellent question. Because it's not only something that we don't know. Let's go back to a really early area game. Let's go back to the very beginning of the game. Where's the... Oh, that's too far south. That's right. We don't know the answer to that. And there's a lot of debate about this. And it becomes important because the time between, for instance, when the gods were sort of kicking around and when this world didn't look like this, when it wasn't a nightmare realm mess. Is that a generation? Is it 100 generations? Is it 1,000 generations? It's unclear, and that often leaves an air of mystery in all of these games. And this is true of the Dark Souls games and of Bloodborne. I think this is true as well. And this is a place where archaeology could theoretically add something, because I think the archaeology usually implies that there has been pretty significant amounts of time based on the kind of methodological analysis we can do on this as archaeologists. This is essentially where the game starts, by the way. You start in this kind of interesting little church, and you come down into this area, and we can see some of the landscape here. We've been in indoor areas for the most part, or in cities and things, but this is what the landscape of this game, generally speaking, looks like. Quite pretty with these golden things. I'm going to move towards wrapping up here, but I like this question a lot about how much time has passed. And they I think very intentionally don't want you to know. They want it to feel like it could have been maybe just a generation. It could have been maybe 100 years. It could be 10,000 years, right? They want that to feel sort of mysterious. But the archaeology, I think, an archaeological perspective, I think, implies that we're probably more towards the latter than the former. The level of ruin and degradation of material, and the distinction between things that are old, that are from a time when this was sort of peaceful, like perhaps this Church of America here, that's one of the earliest places we go in the game, and we can see it's very much a ruin, very much an archaeological site in and of itself that looks like it's been here for hundreds or perhaps thousands of years, compared to the things that are current, like I think these weird crucifixes. These are meant to be happening now when they're made of wood and they have rope on them. This game does a far better job than Uncharted does, about being kind of careful with the sorts of materials that it shows being preserved for long periods of time. I love very much how this game reuses spaces. So this place is a church. It's listed as a church, but it's also very much a ruin. It's no longer being used as a church. There's a merchant just sort of hanging out here. You meet characters here to talk. So this is an active part of the landscape. How long does it take for a place like this to lose its connotation as a religious space and move towards a more quotidian space that people are coming back to again and again? It's a really interesting question to sort of tackle. There's lots of new questions. For all my fellow rockhounds in the chat, could you elaborate on crystals and get into their mineral properties, please? You haven't asked enough of these questions, in my opinion. And just to prove again that there's no question is a bad question, they are a very specific kind of crystal, and I'm not enough of a lore hound to remember what they are, but they're these very specific, special kind of crystals that have the powers that they reference, and they have some association with the moon and with lunar principles and lunar magic. But do they come from the moon? Are they from like an asteroid? I'm not sure. Somebody probably has an answer to that question, but I don't have it. But they do. Their mineralogical properties are meaningful because they hold a power. Oh yeah, did you guys? That looks like Santa. That my partner said the same thing when we walked in there. Oh, it's Santa Claus. That dude really does look like Santa Claus. Those are the merchants, and you run into a lot of these throughout the game, and they don't usually. They come in lots of different color schemes. So this is a cool place maybe to end off on. This is, again, one of the very first areas in the game that you come to, and it is this cool, ruined church. This is definitely I think supposed to be more of a village or something. And it's currently being used as a kind of a guard outpost, so it's being reutilized by the current residents. But it's definitely got layers of history to it, and we can start to imagine what those layers of history might be, and how they might have come to be the way they are. I'm massively over-leveled for this part of the game, so this is kind of like complicated. It really can't do any damage to me. We can end with little combat. Probably with the exception of that dude who can hit really hard. Oh, I said I can kill him in one shot. Let's see, were there any last minute? I'm going to make sure you learn something. Ask me more shitpost questions. I want them. Challenge me. Yeah, site reuse is one of the ways that sort of the creation of multi-component sites, and frankly, like a great word to think about FromSoft games is they have these kind of active palimpsests, which is a great archaeology word, right? Patterns within patterns. And we can see that in all these places. They are reused over and over again. And in many cases, you can even see not just two uses like this, like, okay, this was some kind of a village or something, or a church or something, and now it's a guard outpost. Okay, so we can see two layers, two components. In many cases, there are instances, for instance, in the very first video I ever put up on my YouTube channel, which is about the first area of Dark Souls, there's a place you go to, it's a kind of a boss arena, and I think there's at least 3 layers of history in that space. It's being used as like a prison or an asylum in the current age, but there's also appears that there was a period when it was used as a kind of a gathering hall or a space for meeting dignitaries, and then there's another period in which I think it was some kind of a castle. You can see all these sort of layers in this one space that they just designed to be a boss arena. They just designed it to be a big open space where you fight a big dude, and yet they put this care into developing these different spaces. The last thing I'll mention is I think one of the things that archaeologists, one of my main questions I'm trying to tackle today is what can ArchaeoGaming bring to our analysis of FromSoft games? Perhaps some of the most analyzed, talked about, discussed, lionized, whatever video game series in the world ever. one of the ways that they do really interesting stuff with that I don't think a lot of those analyzers look at them through is they're full of references to the real world. And they're doing a kind of metagame with these references in that what we've been saying, right? Oh, this area looks like it's Byzantine. This area looks like it's like the Vatican. This area looks like medieval Scotland or something, right? Or whatever this is supposed to be. And obviously those are not meaningful things, meaningful ideas within the lore of the game, because those places don't exist in the world of Elden Ring. There is no Scotland, there is no Vatican within the world of Elden Ring. But they're definitely intentionally referencing those places, and we're meant to know that, right? We as the player are meant to know, oh, this place looks like the Vatican. And from that comes all kinds of meaning. I'm getting attacked by a big giant. Comes all kinds of meaning, right? We fill in blanks. Oh, this place looks like the Vatican, which means it's a religious place. It means it's a place of opulence. It's a place of quote-unquote high culture, whatever that might mean in the setting of the game. It's a place of the seat of a powerful religious leader. All that stuff instantly pops into our heads if we are playing the game as a real human who knows what the Vatican is. So that's actually an interesting place where archaeologists can add meaningful knowledge to the understanding of these games, is the way in which the developers are thinking about these real world. We can add that context, right? We can say, oh, I'm actually like an archaeologist of, the Catholic Church, during the Renaissance, right? And I'm not that, but let's say I was. I could potentially bring some real history and real understanding of material culture analysis that would help enrich both the way players might interact with the games, but also help players understand the intentionally quiet ways that they have already started to interpret these spaces, right? How the game developers have tricked you into making a lot of assumptions about a space just based on your prior knowledge or, kind of half-assed knowledge, perhaps, of a real archaeological historical place in the world and a real culture. So I think that's something I'm really fascinated by with these games, and it's a place that archaeo gamers and archaeologists can bring something novel and exciting to the study of these games, which, as I said previously, are probably some of the most overanalyzed games in the world, right? These are games that if you go on YouTube and you type in Dark Souls lore analysis, God, you're gonna drown in content, and much of that content is good, interesting stuff from literary scholars and media scholars and queer theorists and critical race theorists and historians, every perspective, feminist perspectives, everything you can imagine, creepy right-wing perspectives, probably, right? Everything you can imagine, good and ill, has been thrown at these games. That's something we could bring that's kind of unique and interesting. See, because I can't read the chat and play this game at the same time, so I'm getting yelled at. I need to play with this so he can move around while I tell him where to go. We can do that. Who's running the ArchaeoGaming Collective account right now? Is it Sarah? Because Mexican's perspectives. Because we could do that. I know we're starting, for those who are hanging out here in our last minutes of the con, I know that we are going to be doing more regular streaming, right? As a community, which as we've learned this weekend, and if you were listening to the really good panel discussion earlier today, being that was led by Michael Zimmerman, this is a community that lasts more than just this weekend, right? We do this weekend every year. It's been a huge success this year, I think. It's been really fabulous. Again, I really have to give so much credit to everybody involved in running this thing, and to everybody who made the graphics and who have been behind the scenes, making this all go off without a hitch. Everything is run just technically. It's hard for me to describe to you how complicated technically this weekend was. I think there's dozens of different people streaming to one Twitch account, and it's been wild. It's been really, really interesting and crazy. But this is a community that outlasts this weekend. And I know that one of the things, I'm just doing an advertisement before we sign off, for us, if people want to please join the Discord and hang out with us in the future. There is, we outlast this weekend, and I think there is a plan going forward. I know we're going to be doing this Mass Effect thing. Then we're going to be doing more streaming like this as an organization. And so, hey, I don't know, if people want to play Elden Ring, I'm 100% down to do that, and I'll definitely be happy to do that. So let me know if you're interested in doing that, and we'll do it. We'll do it, or any other game, whatever, any game that I'm supposedly a player of. I'm happy to get involved with that. But you should watch the Mass Effect streams. You should watch them all because there's going to be some good stuff there. At this point, I'm literally just like running around. What is this guy? Oh, I think I just found a secret. That's a fun way to end. I've never gotten that before. I don't even know what that is. Okay, no idea what that was. And we should end on that. Do Dark Souls. Dark Souls would be cool. I have a whole kind of series on my YouTube channel, which again is youtube.com/c/videogamearchaeology. You should go subscribe to that. Go check it out. It's fun. That's my addition to this. My personal addition to this community. Is the stuff I do on that channel. And I've done a bunch of Dark Souls videos and was just kind of working through the game like bit by bit and making these somewhat improvised videos like this. And I haven't done any of those videos for months. But that would be a cool way to do those videos. I'd love to just keep playing through Dark Souls and talking about it. And just hanging out. So let's do that. Follow on. Follow our Discord. Get involved with the Discord. Follow this Twitch channel. Follow our social medias and any of the individual personalities, because like myself, most of the folks who are hanging out with ArchaeoGaming are also doing their own stuff, and there's some really cool people doing YouTube channels, Twitch channels, writing, blogging. There's some incredible stuff. So get involved in that. And this is where I'm showing my lack of streaming knowledge. I don't know how to end one of these things. I don't know how do you stop? How do you stop doing this? Do I just randomly in the middle of a sentence just click stop streaming? Oh, that's how you stop. You fall in a hole. I did that on purpose, probably. You end by introducing yourself again. You fall in a hole. That's how you do it. That's the sign. That's the sign that it's time. So yeah, my name is Bill Farley. Check out my YouTube channel. Please get involved with the community. And one more last huge thank you, I know, for myself and for anybody else who was involved in this weekend and giving presentations this weekend or viewing this weekend. A huge thank you to the organizers who did a brilliant, beautiful, amazing job. So I'll give them a round of applause if anybody else wants to get involved, because they did incredible. And with that, there's the ArchaeoGaming YouTube. Check that out, please. And there's the Discord. Yeah, some people are dropping links in the chat. They're competing with each other. So click those links and hit subscribe and all those things and get involved with the community, because we do cool stuff all year round. It is just an incredible, wonderful community. So, thank you for hanging out with me for the last bit. Hour and 15 minutes. I think that went well. Again, this went incredibly smoothly, largely because of Anna's help in getting this all set up for me last night. And stay safe. Have a wonderful what's left of your weekend, which isn't very much. And I'll see you all soon.